Well, President Trump will host a campaign rally tonight in Greenville, North Carolina. It's a state the president is familiar with. He campaigned there several times in the home stretch of the 2016 election, and he won the state by 3 points. Mr. Trump took to Twitter to preview what he'll address at tonight's rally and hinted that he'd talk about what people who love and hate our country. Brian Murphy joins us now from Washington. He's a D.C. correspondent for the Charlotte Observer. So, Brian, the president makes this trip in the midst of this big backlash over the back and forth on his tweet from a couple of days ago. We know North Carolina Senator Tim Tillis is expected to attend. He said he believes Mr. Trump should focus on the economy and not on the controversy. What issue do you think is going to resonate more with those voters in North Carolina?
I think Republicans certainly would like the president to talk about the economy, but I can't help but think that the president is going to get into the red meat that people in the audience are going to respond to, and that's talking about these 4 Democratic congresswomen of color. It's certainly been a longer story than I think most people. I talked to Representative Mark Meadows, for example. He said he thought it'd be a 48 to 72 hour story. We're on day 3 or day 4 of this already, and I don't get a sense that the president's going to back down tonight.
And having the president there is so important, particularly Senator Tillis is up for re-election in 2020. He's said he's holding on to his seat, will be really crucial for Republicans to keep their majority in the Senate. Does he face a risk of losing his re-election bid? How does it look for him right now?
Well, he has a GOP challenger, a Raleigh businessman named Garland Tucker, but his fundraising in the second quarter was not what I think most people were expecting. He's self-funding a lot of the campaign at this point, and President Trump has endorsed Senator Tillis. So I think on the Republican side, he's going to make it through. Most incumbent senators do. On the Democratic side, it looks like Cal Cunningham may be the choice of Democrats. He's in Iraq. He's a war veteran. He has served in the state Senate, but he lost the 2010 bid to be the Democratic nominee for the Senate. So I think most people think that Tillis is favored to keep the seat.
So we know President Trump won North Carolina by 3 points in 2016. The Republican National Convention will actually be in Charlotte next year. Do Republicans in the Trump campaign feel that they're in any sort of jeopardy in losing potentially North Carolina in 2020? Can you tell at this point?
Yeah, I think it's a little too early to tell. Trump won a narrow victory, as you mentioned, in 2016. That was actually the largest victory since 2004. President Obama carried it in 2008 by a very narrow margin. And then Mitt Romney defeated President Obama in 2012 by a slim margin as well. So even though the numbers don't look that great for President Trump last time, that was actually the largest victory in North Carolina since '04. I think the Democrats obviously are focusing so much of their attention on Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania that maybe North Carolina has slipped a little bit from that top tier of states. Obviously, it's very key to the president if he wants to win re-election. I think he needs to hold on to North Carolina.
And so far, I mean, I'm curious about fundraising money, if you can read anything into that as well. North Carolinians have contributed $1.6 million to President Trump's re-election campaign. Can you read anything, Brian, into those numbers?
I don't think so. It's a little early. One of the key fundraisers, Louis DeJoy, in Greensboro, is a Republican National Committee vice chair for fundraising, has hosted at least one big fundraiser for the president in the state. I think North Carolina overall is probably a state that is going to contribute more to President Trump than to the Democrat, whoever wins the nomination. I'm
curious, Brian, as someone who follows politics down there very closely, what are you watching for in the coming weeks?
Yeah, well, I mean, what's really happening in North Carolina, and it's going under the radar a little bit nationally, is a giant fight over Medicaid expansion in the state. The state budget is being upheld right now, a fight between the Democratic Governor Roy Cooper and the Republican-led General Assembly in the state. Cooper would like to expand Medicaid. The Republicans in the state legislature are not keen on that idea. And right now, the entire budget's being upheld by it. So I think that's one of these under-the-radar stories that's not getting attention on the national stage, but certainly in the state of North Carolina is getting tons of attention.
You know, it's always so astonishing. I don't know why I'm astonished by it, but every time we talk to our friends throughout the country, political reporters like yourselves and our own campaign folks who are out there, how much health care is such an important issue over and over and over again to voters.
Yeah, healthcare was what the Democrats ran on in 2018 throughout the state. They were not able to flip any districts in North Carolina in 2018. But I think Democrats would much rather be talking healthcare than talking about this dispute over these racist tweets. I think the Republicans would much rather be talking economy and what that's doing for people's healthcare, at least employer-provided healthcare, than be talking about these tweets. However, it does seem like the national conversation is dominated by these tweets right now.
It certainly is. Brian Murphy, I want to thank you very much for giving us a little insight into North Carolina politics.
Thanks.